The agent set up here, but we'll go into that in a moment as the pistol kicks off. The dish default is starting it for Shopify, so we'll keep an eye on this because some teams do like to hit up dish very frequently and force the other team to react by having to set up early here. But with that said, there's 3 players for Cloud9 White waiting around the A site, so we'll see if they can lock them around this drop position before they can spill out.
Jazz is just underneath all of this, covered by Sky Smoke. Paint shells will come through the Boombot to follow. Annie playing over through the middle connector is actually going to be able to find at least some value because the Boombot was never really hardly dealt with. But on the opposite side through the hallway, Flowerful for the opener. They've got Cat stuck in a corner. Or do they? Help is here, and Cloud9 White's going to get the out trade and go into a 3v2.
Oh, Jazzy absolutely drops KP there as well. All big shots required for Flowerful. There's one, only one bullet left, and it's going to go to Mel. And that's very unfortunate there for Shopify Rebellion, but they do get the spike planted, and this is a map where if you've got and prepared some forced by strats, it honestly would be really great to see. And actually, TSMX, if you cast your mind back to yesterday's matchup against C9 White, had a lot of success running those.
Halls, they have great utility to stop a play on the jump from Dish. So you get that early little peek, you don't hear anything, there's no utility to come out, and then look how quickly they rotate over to deal with this inevitable hit that they think is going to be coming through A drop.
Yeah, so leaving Sonder there around Dish. And they're actually quite split up at the moment. I like playing for the orbs on rounds like this. Of course, they didn't decide to go for that force buy. Very sad. But maybe they can find some damage here. Mel looking to peek reactively off of any information she may hear, whether that's the pickup of the orb or otherwise. And Shopify not really finding too much. There goes the Sky Smoke. Again, Mel's just actually, yeah, so you can see that they've actually used the minimap to get some pings so they can spray. And there it is. It's going to work out.
Unbelievable.
That's
that
how you
is
do it.
Unbelievable from Cloud9 White. The rotate over from the defensive side. Katsumi needs a little bit of help. Mel still holding on to B tower. Oh boy. Not a great start here for Shopify Rebellion. You don't expect too much in this second round, but I think it's just the nature of how Cloud9 White are able to set themselves up, rotating to the middle of the map and helping one another so brilliantly. Definitely builds an interesting kind of setup for how this map may go.
Yeah, and it would be really great for Sonder to... I mean, Sonder needs to really die. Collect the orb first. Just enough time to do this. And looks like Cloud9 White will put her out of her misery. So, good round from them. Only losing one player is a fantastic result. And Shopify, they get both orbs, but...
Setup. Barriers will fall. Annie's going to move forward. If they can get door control, that barrier orb may still be placed to block off A halls completely. And then as soon as that goes up, all three of them are just going to be watching over through the drop through Dish. So this is actually kind of the exact same setup, again, for Cloud9 White. The only thing that's really different here is the orb for the barrier has not been used as of yet, but there it goes. They're going to use it actually a little bit further forward. So they've got A on lock, and now the defense can start to stack over towards B.
Yeah, and I like the way that this is being set up by Shopify. They are, playing for that early aggression around arcade, which is somewhat common. You can do a lot of setups there with Raze and Breach and so on, but you can see Cloud9 White, they are playing very passive. And they are very dangerous when they play this way as well, just because they have very skilled players. And now here comes the push. The counter util is coming through as well. The dash and the satchels will allow Shopify to take early control on the site. And Powerful taking full advantage. Katsumi pushed to the other end of tower. And now it's going to be very hard here for C9 White to get back in.
I was about to say, that would be a very over-invested Rolling Thunder to come through, but as Cloud9 White start to double hit through arcade, they're going to retake B tower here. So now all of a sudden, you may have to throw both hands up if you're KP. Because you've got numbers here for Cloud9 White with a couple of weapons that have been picked up. More flooding coming through. Mel turns that to a 1-for-1. There's the Rolling Thunder, but the kills will likely come through faster. Mel actually avoids this. There's an opportunity to do more damage here if you're Mel from B tower. But the opportunity to clutch and get the defuse likely not going to be possible. And as Lori takes their third, it's Shopify Rebellion who do make their way through the bonus, or pardon me, the bonus of Cloud9 White, I should say. But it's a costly one, Dan.
Cloud9 White. Well, deep smoke, but it is that sort of force. It's dangerous, but angle is better for Flowerful, and that's a huge loss on the B sites.
You have to play retake now if you're Cloud9 White. There's just no other way about it. And Sonder will move forward with the Spectre, just watching through gens, as the spike does get planted successfully. This retake largely coming through Canteen at the moment, actually. And that paint shells will actually get a lot of damage in. So as they start to stack once more, this post plant setup through tree is going to be completely uncontested. You have to find these kills quickly for Cloud9 White, and oh, do they ever! Alexis for a double off of their own flash. Now turns this to a 3v2. SR completely stuck in the backside of the Sky Smoke.
Yeah, the spray comes through the Sky Smoke, and there is some time to wait this out here for Cloud9 White. Anidro going through, and there's very little left here now. Flatful will also be taken out, and Alexis coming in with those huge kills. Mechanics looking absolutely on point, and that is a very upsetting result. I mean, this is kind of the style that Shopify needs.
Points. They didn't wait for anyone else to start to come through those Sky Smokes. They just used all their utility, thinking they were going to find kills just kind of by default, and they had no tools remaining on the backside of that last Sky Smoke to stop the defuse from coming in. Once again, though, as we get into the next round, it's pistols for SR and knives for Lori, as Shopify Rebellion will be allowed to get onto site for free. And KP will use this as a chance to plant.
Some money at least guaranteed. See what they're able to do. The extra Sky Smoke comes through at Mel, trying to go and smoke into the shorty. She'll go, and that could very well be a gun collected. We'll see what Shopify are able to build off of that. Kasumi readying that orbital strike. Oof. This is going to be a tough one, though. There's still 5 players left alive. Annie, though, takes down Lori. Time is ticking away here. Jazzy, oh, gets caught. That's 2 for the shorty in this position. Absolutely massive from Sonder. Still, though, looking like absolute juggernauts storming through onto the retake. Time is ticking away now. Just Alexis against these 2 players. She's going to have to be perfect. It is looking very desperate, and there's no bullets left in the gun. Panini seals the deal for the Thrifty.
And a huge advantage also starting to be tallied off of the opening ultimates that come through, and Jazz is going to be stuck by Trademark. Maybe still an opportunity to use this on the corner, and goes high. Takes down Lori. A good first blood. That's a weapon collected.
And that's the thing we were talking about. That's a fairly common play, the satchels, but that's why you see the Trademark there to try to punish those. But Shopify, you know, they will understand what that means. They take control on the A site. There's not really any defense here to speak of. So despite the kill onto Lori, at least the response from Shopify is to take all this control. 4 versus 5 not going to be the easiest thing in the world, but they have the weaponry advantage.
And they have a showstopper for Sonder. She has to stay alive in this position. Oh, but it maybe gets caught out, but no. Body shot of the rocket into Annie. Rolling Thunder coming through. The retake is quick on the way, but the problem, like you had mentioned, is the rifles just are not here. Kat, one of the last players left. We've seen her do incredible things as recently as yesterday, but no such antics here. We get tied up at 3. This is a crucial round as well. If you remember back to when we were setting things up, I still believe that for SR, 6 rounds on offense would be considered a success, considering how good both teams are defensively.
Look at that control early on. There's so much info.
There is a trademark they have to get through here, Dan.
Does this get called off if they touch it? Do they call off the push?
I think you have to.
Oh my goodness.
They sneak right around it? Hello?
Oh no, that is a disaster. The Rolling Thunder will come through. They need to somehow capitalize off of this, but they know now that the flank is not safe. They have nothing except the site control and Sands with Lori. Lori must survive. Lori must be able to find ways to do damage. Sonder, they're trying to create some space, trying to shut down that A main push, but it's looking rather difficult now. 3 players left here for Shopify Rebellion. It's such a critical round to win, and it is all dwindling away. And Cloud9 with that early push have completely stuffed the round for Shopify.
Well, let's just call a spade here, Dan. It wasn't the early push. It was the early misplacement of the trademark, allowing the free kill onto Flower.
It's expended, and now it's Cloud9 White with a huge ult advantage. Tour de Force available, the orbital strike as well, and the res is soon to be in play as well. But we get these dish defaults continuing here for Shopify. And again, these dish defaults continue, and Cloud9, you know, they have the understanding that they can keep pushing Tree, especially with Mel and the Tour de Force. So once again, they've got all the information.
It's just this same kind of trio setup. This time it's a little bit different because it's Jazz who's gone over to B in favor of Katsumi moving over, largely because you have the orbital strike. And that actually does provide a little bit of damage over towards the barrier orb. Onto Flowerful. SR once again in trouble. KP is going to try to stick for plant. The problem about this is you're going to have to do it all yourself, likely with the Bulldog, because Flower is stuck in a corner.
Faultline slowing things down a little bit. There might be a chance of a KP and Flowerful. They have to hit the shots though, but the flash comes through. Looking great. And just pins right now with this tour de force. No escape for KP. And Cloud9 will pick up the rounds. And once again, so what Shopify have to understand now is that Cloud9 are punishing their dish defaults. They are not leaving anyone towards tree, and there are certainly ways to deal with this, but they have to be aware. They have to understand, how is it the case that
figure out how you respond to it if your SR is, how do we get through this barrier orb at A halls? That has single-handedly been delaying and largely just defending A halls for Cloud9 White. Obviously for this round things are different because the simple fact that you know that SR is going to be on a pretty hindered buy, and he now takes the wall over towards tree to try to control this. But the defense is stacked up. They're ready for a hit towards B, trusting that Mel will be able to make contact and keep their life in case something were to come through A halls.
Yeah, and we're going to see the value of the Sage Walls in plays like that, because it really does stifles options. This map has so many big choke points. There's of course 4 or 5 major choke points, and so the Sage Wall can be really, really important. But maybe more on that later. We have push coming through to the A site where Mel is. That's a fantastic play. Able to distract the fire with the satchel, and they're going to find a plant.
And they'll find a weapon for Panini. That's actually what the plant will allow the knives to also come out. So this is still doable for Shopify Rebellion. Retake-wise, you really don't have much when it comes to at least ultimates. So you're going to have to do this off the backside of just one more flashpoint for Alexis. It's going to be used over towards Halls, but Lori's here to help pinch it. The knives, though, a bit amiss. Panini tagged down means that you have to give up a little bit of space. And how about the res? They're going to commit the res into this and be able to bring Mel back into the action, but Lori with the double keeps things in favor of the post plant for Shopify Rebellion. And now we go into a 2v4. Weapons may be low, but time is on your side all of a sudden for Shopify Rebellion. This comes down to cleaning up the final 2, which Flower will do no problem. And a thrifty for Shopify. As the barriers drop, Faultline gives them the angle. Mel cannot re-peek this. Flashes to follow. Okay, this is going to go quick, but Mel, good for the first kill. Steps away from the boom bot, but does at least amount to trades. Lots of damage tally, but we go 3v3, Dan.
Yeah, took down both the duelists, so actually not the end of the world here for Shopify. In the 3v3, they have a lot of util left to try to control this one. See what they're able to do with it as everyone's coming through. Look at the cafeteria. We'll see what they're able to find. The slow orbs preventing pushing on these choke points. And this is allowing C9 to gain some ground. There comes the tap. That's the pressure. Surely a peek comes through, but it's the orbital strike instead. Lexus getting caught in the flames as well. Has to make the dash through down to tree. And now it's just split up this effort. And they're getting really split up here. They can't play off of each other. Really well done by Shopify to split up the defenders here on this retake.
Yeah, brilliant move. Alexis is completely stuck. Maybe an opportunity for a couple of kills, but nothing further. A brilliant round for Shopify and on the same box. She's moved it every time. And this time, actually, it's going to be aggression over through a ramps. Probably a read here, knowing that Cloud9 White are on a bit of a hindered buy. And when they're in this position, they don't often put the barrier orb down over towards A halls. But Mel, one of the only rifles in play for the defense, still collects first blood, even though the spike will be committed for Planet A.
Yeah, and interestingly, not a lot of util here, but the Rolling Thunder for Alexis might come into play. We'll have to see, because there's not a lot of space here now for Shopify Rebellion. In comes the flank as well, and almost a chance there for Panini, but it's looking very desperate here now. Lori has to kill basically everybody, and it's just not going to happen. And Cloud9 White, despite having only one player on site, Mel, and giving up the site, they managed to retake quite cleanly.